Cold calling 400 businesses sounds like a nightmare. It also works, which is the annoying part, but you still don't do it. The list just sits there, yet every lead gen video only shows you how to build a bigger list. In this video, we're going to take a different approach. Instead of building a big list, I'm going to show you how to quickly zero in on about a dozen businesses who I know actually need what you're selling, because their customers are already publicly saying it in their Google reviews. We'll be using an n8n template I built that scans hundreds of businesses on Google Maps and then finds about a dozen whose customers are complaining about the exact problems you help solve. Let's go over how it works with two examples, one for someone who builds booking systems and one for pest control company. So let's say I sell booking systems, online scheduling, appointment reminders, that kind of thing. That means I'm not looking for businesses that need a booking system in the abstract. I'm looking for businesses whose customers already tried to book something and couldn't. Those people leave reviews about it. That's the whole idea. Two things go in here to set up the scan: what I'm searching for and where. For the where, I just find the area on Google Maps and grab the coordinates straight out of the URL. That's them right there. And this matters more than it looks like it does. It dictates the area you're searching, factoring in both the coordinates and your zoom level. Zoom too far in and the API pulls duplicates that the workflow filters out. Zoom too far out and you might miss some businesses. Then the search terms go in next to it, with each search on a new row. I'm doing veterinarian, golf course, auto repair, law office, and dentist. And these are the words I'm scanning the reviews for: book, appointment, and schedule. Nobody writes, your booking system has poor UX. They write, I couldn't figure out how to book an appointment. Now, I just hit execute to run it. This run scanned 415 businesses and found 12 with a total of 24 reviews that mention a booking problem. Best of all, it only took about 2 minutes. Here's the quick version of what just happened. It searched Google Maps using our queries and coordinates, filtered out businesses with high overall ratings, pulled the reviews for the businesses that were left, scanned them for our keywords, and then exported the matches to Airtable as our cold call list. But there's one trade-off worth naming up front. I'm filtering businesses by their overall rating before pulling reviews to keep within SERP API's free tier. But it means I'm missing highly rated businesses with one bad booking complaint. That's a real gap. A 4.5 star rated business with one furious review about their scheduling is arguably a better lead than a 3.8 star business with 10 complaints about everything. But I'll come back to that and show you how I resolve that gap for clients in a bit. Okay, let's go over what actually came back by going over 3 examples, starting with Las Positas Golf Course, where a reviewer said they don't answer the phones and they hang up in your face mid-booking at tea time. That's someone who wanted to give this business money and couldn't figure out how. If I sell booking systems, that's not a cold call, that's a warm one. This one's a different booking related issue at another golf course. Here's what a reviewer said. Found a tea time on Golf Now to save a few dollars. Upon checking in, we were told that anyone who books on Golf Now must pay for a cart. Even if you leave it behind and still walk, you will be forced to pay. This policy is not clearly stated on Golf Now, nor Fremont Park's website. And then another reviewer also mentioned they were charged extra fees that weren't disclosed when they booked. That's 2 people with the same complaint. Their booking system needs clearer pricing. Now this one's a veterinary clinic and highlights a unique issue. A reviewer said, we scheduled a dental cleaning and showed up early, missing work only to be told they wouldn't do it because she still has pneumonia. Apparently, the improvement was never properly documented. That's a booking flow that doesn't check eligibility against its own records. Had the system qualified the booking prior to confirming the appointment, this issue would have been resolved ahead of time. In all 3 cases, you know exactly what to say on that call. You're not guessing what their problem is. They published it. Those are just 3 examples from the 12 businesses pulled out of 415 businesses scanned. 8 of the 12 have a customer on record saying they couldn't book. To stay honest, there were 4 false positives, but I'll show you how to resolve that as well in a bit. Now here's the version of this everyone builds. Same city, same business types, no filtering, no review scanning. Just scrape the category and export it. About 400 businesses total. And look, if you call all of these businesses, odds are you'll land at least 1 new client. But who wants to dedicate several days to cold calling businesses at almost random? Here's mine with 12 businesses and 24 highlighted reviews. The difference isn't the size, it's what they're filtered by. That list shows every business that exists in the category and area on Google Maps. Sure, it tells you the market is there, but it doesn't tell you anything about any single business on it. This one is filtered to only businesses with a problem you can solve. There's 12 names with the reviews I can read in about 15 minutes, and then I know something about every one of them before I dial. So if I call someone on this list, I'm opening with, hi, do you have a booking system? And then I'll have to fish for a pain point my system could solve, not knowing if one's even there. If I call someone on this one, I'm opening with, I saw a couple of your customers mention they had trouble booking. I'm not fishing. A problem that's actually costing them money is on the table 10 seconds into the call. That's a call anyone could close. That was one kind of signal. There's a second one, and it works in a different way. Booking complaints are about something that isn't there. It could be no online booking, a broken autoresponder, or confusing forms. Nobody's failing. The business is just trying to run it all themselves and struggling to keep up. But a lot of the businesses you'd want to sell to already have somebody. They're on contract, they're paying every month, and the service isn't working. That's a different lead. You're not convincing them they need this. You're the replacement for a different provider that isn't working out. Which is most service businesses, honestly. Cleaning, landscaping, IT, waste hauling. Somebody already has the account. So, let's say I sell pest control services in the same city as before. I change my search terms to restaurants, storage facilities, gyms, and apartment complexes. And I'm scanning for different words this time. Roaches, mice, rats, ants, infestation, bugs. For this run, we scanned 342 businesses and flagged 21 with reviews that matched our keywords in the same 2 minutes. However, there were more false positives this time because of how dumb basic keyword matching can be. It flagged 5 restaurants and not one of them mentions a pest control issue. Nothing. Instead, they were flagged because the word restaurants is in a review. When you spell that out, the last 4 letters are ANTS, or ants, one of our search terms. It's matching letters, not words. Every restaurant review that uses the word restaurants got flagged for ants. That's 5 of my 21 gone right off the bat, and it took 4 seconds to spot. Hold that thought, there's a fix, and I'll show you in a minute. What's left is where the leads actually are. For instance, you have a review from Enclave Apartments in San Jose saying, unfortunately, I've also seen German roaches inside my unit as well, both adults and babies, despite not leaving food out or garbage anywhere. And then further down in the same review, she lists what she gets charged for every month. Water, sewer, trash, valet trash, and pest control. That's the whole difference between this list and the booking list. She is already paying somebody to handle this. It's a line item on her rent, but there's still a pest problem. So I'm not selling anyone on the idea of pest control here. They're already sold. I'm just a replacement for a provider who isn't working out. The other thing I like, the customer did the inspection for me. I know what the pest is, which unit it's in, and roughly when it started before I've spoken to anyone. 6 of the 21 businesses flagged have a real pest complaint in them. Rats eating through the walls at one complex, a guy at another one who counted the ants he killed in a day, 18, and his wife got 27. The other 15 are noise complaints, move-out fees, and the word restaurants. Still, finding 6 businesses where I know the problem before I dial in about 2 minutes for free is a solid result. But I'd rather the list just have the 6 real leads, and that part is fixable. We just went through 2 different industries with customers who have distinct problems using the same workflow. One list is for people who don't have a solution, the other is for people who have one that isn't working. Regardless of which one describes your customer, all you need to do is change the keywords, and you can create a cold call list tailored to your business in about 2 minutes as well. Okay, let me tell you what this doesn't do, because if you go run it yourself, you'll find out in about 10 minutes anyway. Across both runs, about 14 of the 33 flagged businesses were real leads. That's because keyword matching is dumb. Remember the 5 restaurants? It didn't know the word restaurants contains ants, because it isn't reading, it's matching characters. That's why it flagged so many restaurants that didn't have an actual pest control issue. So somebody still has to read them, and that somebody is you. For a run this size, that'll take at least 15 minutes to read through them all. The fix is to hand that reviews to ChatGPT instead of matching keywords, and ask it a question. Is this a person describing a pest problem at this business? Yes or no? It reads the sentence the way you would, preventing false positives without filtering out good leads. For instance, it would have easily caught that those flag reviews with the word restaurants were not actual complaints about ants. Second thing, this is a snapshot. It tells you who has a problem right now, today. If somebody leaves a review next week, a fresh complaint, the kind that actually annoys the owner, you won't know. You'd have to remember to run it again and then reread everything you already read last time. The fix is to stop running it by hand. Have it check every week and only surface what's new. Same scan, except now the list comes to you instead of you going and getting it. This also allows you to monitor businesses with higher average ratings, as incremental runs pull fewer reviews that are sorted by newest instead of lowest. These businesses also tend to care more about each review they receive. That means real actions, like hiring a booking provider or pest control service after a negative review about those issues. Third one isn't a flaw so much as a ceiling. All you've got is the complaint. You don't know if several of the businesses are owned by the same company. For instance, we found 3 complexes all owned by one company, and then another batch of 2 owned by another company. This scan doesn't flag that. It found me 5 buildings, but it didn't tell me those 5 buildings are covered with 2 phone calls. This cuts both ways. Sure, it's nice that one conversation covers 3 properties instead of 1. However, the leasing office I'd be dialing likely can't sign a vendor contract anyway. The person who picks vendors sits at corporate and has never been to that building. That's something you want to know before you dial, not 4 minutes into the call. Same goes for the rest of it. How big they are, whether the complaint ever got resolved, whether they're a single location or a chain. Sure, you can spend a Saturday looking all that up, or we can build a system that adds all of this information in another column to your call list. The more details you have, the more specific you can be on the call. That results in a higher closing rate. None of that makes this list worse than the 400 names. It just means there's still room for improvement if you tailor it more precisely to your specific business. That's the version I build for clients. It watches for new complaints, tells you who's actually worth calling, and hands you the reason. That said, the version we use today is still more than enough for you to create a call list for next week. So you've got your list, but before you start dialing, there's one thing to get right, and if you get it wrong, the whole thing backfires. You are not calling them to tell them their business has a problem. That call goes badly. You're a stranger, you've read their bad reviews, and now you're on the phone explaining what's wrong with their company. Best case, they're embarrassed. Worst case, they're defensive, and defensive people don't buy anything. Here's the reframe. You're the person who found the problem. You're the person who noticed it and had a solution sitting there anyway. It's a small difference that makes a big impact. So for the booking list, it's something like, hey, I was looking at businesses in the area and noticed a couple of your customers mentioned they had trouble booking an appointment. I build scheduling systems for businesses like yours, and it's usually a pretty quick fix. Would it be worth 15 minutes to show you what I mean? That's it. You mention the thing once, you don't dwell on it, and then you're talking about the fix instead of the problem. And for the pest control list, we can use the same structure, but with a different opening. Something like, I saw a review mentioning a pest issue. Most places I call already have somebody, so I'm not pitching you. I'm just here to offer a second opinion. I'd be happy to come take a look for free to see what it'd take to solve your pest issues once and for all. That one's a little different because they probably do have somebody. You're not pointing out a gap, you're offering another look. Nobody's offended by a second opinion. One more thing, most of these aren't going to answer on the first call. That's normal. It's still a cold call. The list being better doesn't change that. What changes is that you have something specific to say in a voicemail, and something specific to put in a follow-up email 3 days later. 10 to 20 businesses is small enough that you can easily manage that while handling the rest of your responsibilities as well. 400 isn't. That's the big advantage right there. So that's the whole thing. We covered 2 industries in 2 scans, and each one only took about 2 minutes. The result is a small but effective cold call list that you'd actually use. You can grab the workflow for free in the description. It's the same one you just watched me run. I also put a link to the Airtable base, so you don't need to build that part from scratch either. Just change the search terms and the keywords, and it works for whatever you sell. If you'd rather not run it yourself, or want a custom solution tailored to your business, that's what I do. And the easiest way to figure out whether this is worth anything for your business is to do a trial run for your own city. So, book a call through the link in the description, and I'll do that trial run for you. Just tell me what you sell and where you sell it, and I'll run this scan before we hop on a discovery call. That way, we can create a real strategy for your business based on real-world results during the call. If you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe. I make a new video every couple of weeks aimed at helping business owners get more done with their time. If there's something in particular you want me to cover in my next video, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do.